Hi guys, this is a narrated slide deck. I forgot to record the Zoom call from today's earlier training, so I thought this might be a good way to get you guys up to speed for our workshop in a few weeks. So as you know, the program is Connections Creating What's Next. It's a program designed to create vitality in aging. So I just want to go through what the slide deck's going to address and the agenda. So we're going to look at the why. Why is this program created? Why is this program important? We're going to look at the design components. This is a behavior change program, so there's intentional design in the different components. We're going to look at the skills of the program and the scientific evidence that supports those skills. We're going to take a look at, because you guys aren't going to be able to do this, sort of the self-assessment and action plan. And then I'm just going to go through the workshop format and the dates and locations. And of course, if you have any questions after you review the slide deck, you can always reach out to me. So throughout our whole lives, we're bombarded with imagery of what aging is, and that is that it's mostly about decline and diminishment. So we've got our, examples through commercials. We have, Disney movies. We have 100-day of school celebrations where everybody dresses up like, older people with not such great depictions of what it's like to grow older. And what we'd like to do is create an experience of aging that looks more like this. These are real life people who are doing amazing things. The woman in the beautiful sweater is actually a councilwoman in Scandinavia. These are all 100-year-olds, by the way. A 100-year-old barber, the oldest national park ranger, a woman in India who is a religious leader, and two 100-year-olds who set Guinness Book of World Records. So aging is really about possibility rather than the demise and diminishment that we're constantly seeing. And throughout our lives, as we have these examples of diminishment and decline, it starts to really affect the way we envision our own aging. And so the program itself is designed to combat that idea of ageism. So again, this is education that changes behavior. So these skills are the 6 skills: be inspired, create wholeness, keep moving, be agile, develop wisdom, and build connections, are really meant to drive behavior change in a way that's easy for people to remember. So the be inspired, create wholeness, keep moving, be agile, develop wisdom, build connections are easy to remember. And so through the different components of the program, people who experience the program come out the other side changed. So the real life stories of older adults. So hearing and seeing your peers experiencing aging in a way that's inspirational allows us to envision how it could be for us. We've got the evidence-informed framework of skills, which we'll go into in more depth in the next slide. But those skills are supported by scientific evidence to create a satisfying experience of aging. The interactivity, the parts where you had the self-reflection or the action plan, those are where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, where individuals bring the program alive for themselves. So they see the examples on the screen, but then they can bring the skills alive for their own circumstances, and they can build out their own plan through that interactivity. And then the real-time community connectivity. When these programs are done in community, you not only get people learning from the stories on the film, but you get people learning from each other. And that community connectivity is really powerful. So those are the components that make up the behavior change piece. And so with the skills, the personal determinants of health is a newer emerging construct within the gerontological field of determinants that drive positive health outcomes. You may have heard of social determinants of health, which are housing, transportation, food, access to healthcare. Those are more of the financial determinants, or driven by finances, that help people to live healthy. You need a house, you need to get, you need to have a car to get to work or to the doctor, you need to have food. But the personal determinants of health are those sort of inner workings that are personal to each other, that allow for a positive experience of health. So in the gray circles, you'll see the personal determinants of health are purpose, social network, social emotional support, self-perception of aging, optimism, locus of control. Do I have control over where I live, or how I'm, where I'm going, and what kind of life I'm living? And then self-efficacy. Those skills, or those personal determinants, are the underpinnings for what is known as resilience. And the skills from the program actually operationalize, so they move the gears, the bigger gear that then illuminates the resilience. And resilience is a term that sort of reflects that inner stamina, or that inner resolve that people have to continually move through their lives despite the challenges that they might face. So resilience is where a lot of the current health research is going, because that resilience is really what drives our mental health, our physical health, and our emotional health. And so those gray circles represent sort of three categories: people, purpose, and possibility. And out of those are sort of the ingredients for resilience. And resilience, again, is that inner skill of navigating life circumstances. And so in our program, you've had a chance, hopefully, to go through at least a couple of the modules and explore the skills. And so I'm not going to go through every word on this slide, but just to give you an idea of the underpinnings, the underpinnings of the research and how they support each of the skills. So be inspired. Inspiration is a key aspect to aging well. It's our purpose. It's sort of the meaning in life that we all need, no matter our age, in order to be healthy and vibrant. Creating wholeness. It's, caring for ourselves in the midst of our limitations. And it's, again, these are personal to each other. And so what might work for you doesn't work for somebody else. But knowing what works for you and exploring what ways you can create wholeness is important. Keep moving. Not only do we need to exercise and all the things, that moving connotates, but we need to keep moving mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Being agile, the ability to adapt through challenges and circumstances, coping with our losses, very important. Developing wisdom, connecting with that, something is greater than I am. Again, going into spirituality, beliefs about, why, what you've learned in life is very important. And then building connections, having relationships with family and friends that are supportive, and then knowing what isn't supportive. So having healthy, connections is very important in later life. And then building those intergenerational connections. We're not isolated from the generations. So all of the academic research is really highlighting that these 6 skills are important in later life. So as you went through the course, you saw the first sort of activity was the self-assessment. And the self-assessment, and I made this slide so you could see that the questions in the self-assessment are very intentional, and that they're really a way of having the participants start thinking about their lives with regard to the skills. They don't know that they're doing it that way, but that's what the questions are meant to do, is to start people thinking about the skills and how they are in their lives. So as you can see, There are, the questions correspond with the different skills. And it'd be interesting for you to think about, some of the items on the self-assessment that maybe you are a 1, 2, or a 3, and how that you might think about, or maybe through the course of doing the program, you thought about how you might address those different areas. And that's what the program is designed to do for the participants. So this was this was an interactive piece that we did in the Zoom. But I invite you to think about, one of the skills. It doesn't have to be develop wisdom, but it could be one of the skills. And go through the self-reflections again and just look at, what are ways in which you might have learned something different through experiencing the program. What surprised you? What was something you really found either through the interviews with the older adults or the self-reflection questions that you really hadn't thought of, what you thought you might take on that you hadn't really considered before. So that's just sort of something you can do on your own before our workshop. The action plan. So the action plan is once you've gone through the self-assessment and then you do the video and the self-reflection questions within the program modules, you get to the end, and the end is about the action, right? Because we want to make sure that people, not only is it a fun program and engaging, but we want people to move into the behavior change component, and that's where the action plan can be very helpful, and it's very important. So in the program, looking at ways that once you've identified things that were important to you to consider, then making sort of a list or noting ways in which you can take on some of these skills in the coming month is important to building out behavior change. So just taking a look at your own action plan to see where some ways in which you might move or create wholeness or be inspired or be agile or develop wisdom or build connections. And I will say that what's really great about the way the underpinnings of the program are from a behavior change design standpoint is that by doing 1 or 2 of the skills actually activates the others. So it's a hologram, and it can be beneficial to at least take on 1 or 2. You don't have to take on all 6. And the elders in the workshop won't have to take on all 6 either, because by doing 1 or 2, it actually activates the others. So when we get to our workshop on Tuesday, March 29th and Tuesday, April 5th, the workshop runs from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. I would ask that if possible, you be there by 9:45 at the Kenwood. The Kenwood has requested that everyone have a proof of vaccination, so if you'd bring that, that would be great. But we'll run through the different components of the program in the course of the 2 sessions. And I've outlined it here so you can see, it's broken up into different sections that you can see. We'll do the, self-assessment, we'll share, we'll watch the Be Inspired film, we'll break out into groups, and I'll pair 2 students with a group of elders, and there'll be 1 self-reflection question that'll be the topic of discussion, and the discussion lasts for about 10 to 12 minutes. So it'll be a time for you to listen and to sort of guide people through the discussion. You don't have to do a whole lot of presenting. You just really have to be there to listen and to sort of remind or prompt people of what the question is. And that will be, the course of the day. We'll do 3 skills in the first session, and then we'll explore the remaining 3 skills in the second session with action plan and next steps. And, one of the questions that was raised in the Zoom today was, is there anything important I should know when talking, with older adults, because I haven't really done that much. And I would say, know that it's really important just to listen and to be, and they're just as able to converse as anybody else. And you'll find that once people get started, that they'll have no problem sharing whatsoever. But I'll be at the workshop and I'll be, roaming the room as you break out into the small groups, so I can help, field any questions that may happen at the time. And I want to say that our workshop is being sponsored by the Giving Voice Foundation. You might want to check them out. They're a nonprofit organization that helps give voice to older adults and to people with dementia. And they're doing great work within the city. Dr. Christian Gosvick is the founder, and he is at Christ Hospital and does amazing work in the field of gerontology. So we'll have our 2-part in-person workshop, and the Kenwood address is there for you if you should need it. And so that's really the presentation that I went through. We did a little bit more interactivity and discussion, but I just wanted you guys to have the highlights. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email. I'll be traveling quite a bit this month. I think I'm out of town 3 different times. So reach me by email. I'm happy to field any questions. And then on my email is also my cell phone number, that if on the day of the events you have any issues getting there or having any traffic related concerns or issues, just give me a call or text me, and that's the best way to reach me. So I hope you've enjoyed the program. I would invite you all to finish the program in its entirety so that you're really familiar with it. But then also, if you don't mind bringing some notes or some thoughts of your own to help guide the conversation or be a part of the conversation, because this is a dialogue. It's not just you listening, but there could be opportunities for you to share your own thoughts and feelings as well during the course of the workshop. I look forward to seeing you all in person on the 29th. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, and have a great day.